Hello artist, welcome to another video. Today I have a quick win for you, something you can do in 5 minutes. The easiest sketchbook you've ever made. It doesn't need gluing, doesn't need stitching, doesn't need measuring. You don't even have to use scissors if you don't want. I'm that excited that I'm making word salad. I love things that are simple. And these are super cute, and you can see you can make them in any size. You just have to have a piece of paper. So let me show you how it's done. Also, if you're new here, hi, welcome. My name is Irit. I'm an intuitive artist based in Austria and Europe, and on my channel I share my artsy adventures. So today I'm going to show you how to create this folded sketchbook. If you're interested in making your own sketchbooks, there are some awesome books out there with all kinds of different techniques, fancy, not so fancy. I will leave links below to my favorite books about hand binding or like binding your own sketchbooks. And today I want to show you kind of my favorite way, because you can make a bunch of these and they are so easy. So all you need is a piece of paper, and you can see I have this large sketching paper that is actually surprisingly nice. I always expect sketching paper to be kind of low quality or just suitable for pencil, but this one is really nice. It's from my local art store. And what you want to start doing is just start folding it in half and then in quarters, and then if you want even more like pages or smaller sketchbook, you can also fold it to eighths. But you want to start from half. So you can see I'm going to fold on both sides into half the size and then quarters. I hope that makes sense. There will be like this little diagram that you can screenshot a bit later, but I would just recommend that you take a piece of paper and follow along, and everything will get very clear as you're creating this. So fold it in half, and I recommend folding it in like both sides so you're really kind of releasing those paper fibers. I also personally love to tear the edges of my sketchbook as opposed to using scissors, but that's a personal preference. However, if you are going to tear the page to create your sketchbook, then you really have to work on that fold so it's really flat. So take your time, do this properly, because if you get this step done properly, everything else will be easier. Now, when I do smaller pieces of paper, I stop here and then I just make one cut through 3 of the sections, right? We have like 4 sections in the middle, and I just cut through 3 of them, and that's enough. Maybe I'll show it in another video. But for this one, because it's a large page, I can get a lot of little pages from it. So also lengthwise, I'm also folding it in half and then into that fold from both sides. So that divides it to 4 equal parts. And again, take your time. Now, I am showing you how to do this on just a white piece of paper because I wanted it to be as clear as possible, but you will see in the rest of the video that I actually prefer to take that large piece of paper and cover it completely with paint and color. I usually do just like 1 layer of acrylic paint, and then, or watercolors if it's watercolor paper, and then after I fold it, I go back in and add, marks with pencils and markers and all that good stuff. But I wanted to show you. So basically here we have a large piece of paper, and you can see it's folded on both sides, half and then quarters. And now I'm going to show you where you want to cut. So basically you're cutting. Now you can do this also on the other orientation. So cut basically horizontally. Now I'm cutting vertically, so it's really up to you. I really recommend just start with a smaller piece of paper and play around and see what you prefer, but you can do both orientations, and you just want to leave at the end of each row an empty, like a area that you don't cut. And I just find it really hard to explain with words, but I think it's just in the video, I think you can see very clearly. So in the first fold, you cut through 3 of the sections and you leave the last one uncut. And then on the next row, you do the same thing, but you come from the other side. So basically you get kind of like this worm of papers that you can then fold like an accordion. So just take your time and figure out where you need to cut so you don't mess it up. And you see that I am tearing the paper because I don't like to use scissors and I like those slightly torn edges. But in order to get a nice tear, you really need to work on that fold. So again, I just want to make that point clear, because if you don't take your time to fold it properly, it won't tear straight. And believe me, the reason I know it is because it happens to me all the time. So here you can see I'm coming from the other side and starting to tear it, going through 3 of the sections and leaving 1 section untorn, so that my little worm of papers is not cut in the middle. So there we go. See, I'm cutting through 3 of the sections and I'm stopping before the last one. And then I have the last line to cut. So we cut in 3 places, right? In the 3 joints, in the 3 folds. And this time again, you want to start from the other, like the uncut side of the row before, and cut through 3 pieces. So now you can see what we're talking about, right? It's like a little worm. So you can freeze frame this shot and then it'll be easier for you to remember where to cut it. And now I'm going to fold everything, and then you can go back in with your folding tool and just make those folds even tighter. You can add a cover with some cardboard or something like this. You can cut it a little bit larger and just stick it on both sides. And so here you can see a little diagram. This is, I think, even with more folds. So you can make a smaller sketchbook with more pages, but you can screenshot that diagram if you feel you need it. And now I'm going to show you, so this is a different page, and now I'm going to show you how you can just cover it with paint and then create your sketchbook. It's basically exactly the same, but I have to tell you, there is something very satisfying about folding painted pages. I don't know, it's like a tactile thing. It could be also because of the kind of paint that I use. So this is mostly flash paints, which is matte vinyl paint, but I don't know, to me it's like acrylic, but the point is it's very, very matte. So it almost kind of feels like paper, and it's just really fun to cover the page with this paint and then fold it. So this is how I actually make these sketchbooks, and that's what I would also recommend because I think it's more fun, and I think it's just like a surprise, like a fun surprise to see which kind of color stories and compositions you get when you fold your pages. So I just applied way too much paint, way. I had to like all the time stop and like get rid of the extra paint that was on my silicone tool there. So don't do what I did, just use a lot less paint. But I do this a lot. If I don't feel like using a palette or anything like that, or brushes, I just squeeze the paint straight to my paper or canvas or whatever it is I'm working on, sketchbook, and then I use this silicone tool to mix the colors right on top of my paper and spread the paint around. So you see I have a lot of like very, very intense colors, and a lot of this is actually not white. It is more of like a cream color. So I'm kind of experimenting if I prefer it to white, and I'm still undecided on this. So I'll keep you updated. But I definitely like to have a lot of very light colors in my work. I think it's just my style. I'm very drawn to bright colors and light colors, and so it's necessary to keep a lot of cream or like ivory color or, you know, white on hand. Otherwise, it just gets a bit too intense, a little bit rainbow unicorn vomit with so there's definitely a lot of editing that I need to do because I just tend to, go in with all the colors and get very excited, but then the result is a little bit okay, everything in the kitchen sink. And, for some people really love it, but I find I have to kind of go back, tone things down and edit or be careful because I tend to not like that result. And yeah, if you want to hear more about, my process and watch some process videos, and I have a ton of those on my channel and you're welcome to enjoy them. This one is just focus on making these little sketchbooks, and I just love making this. And actually what I'm going to show you is how I painted it and then folded it, but I only painted it on one side before I started the folding and the cutting. And I actually recommend, paint one side, wait for it to dry completely. I know that's the hard part. Turn it around, paint completely the other side, and then do all the folding and cutting. I don't know, there's something very disturbing about just painting completely one side and then folding it, and then one side is really colorful and cool and then the other side is very white and boring. So I highly recommend just painting both sides and then creating these little sketchbooks. I recommend also just like doing a quick, just like layer of either you can tint gesso or something, or just acrylic paint, but you have to just keep in mind what you want to layer on top. So here you see I had to wait. It was very difficult. Wait for the paint to dry. And now I'm doing exactly the same thing. I'm folding it in half and then in quarters on kind of both sides lengthwise, and then the other side, which I don't know, is that width side? I don't know. But from both sides, you want to fold it in half and then fold in 2 quarters. And then cut it in the way that I showed you. So you always cut through 3 of the sections and leave the last one uncut. And you do the same in every row from like alternating sides. But look how fun this is and how happy. And this is such a great start for a sketchbook. So I hope you will do this. I hope you'll enjoy it. If you do this, then please and you share it on social media, then tag me, because I would love to see your little cute sketchbooks, or maybe large ones. But I've done really teeny tiny ones with just regular sized paper, A4, and I've done it also with much smaller, like A5. It's just really cute, and it's also something you can do with your kids. Kids love these little books. You can make a bunch of them and then take them with you. I always carry a sketchbook and some markers when I go with my kids out, especially not with the oldest one, but with the younger one who's 8. We always take this, and sometimes the older one also enjoys sketching. So this is a really great way to do that, and it's also very, very inexpensive, because you can even use printer paper or something, and it's just really, really cute. So there are so many ways to create your own sketchbooks, and I do like making my own sketchbooks, and I will link you below to another super, super easy way to do this. Trust me, everything I do is very simple, because I hate complicated things with multiple steps. I hate measuring stuff. I hate having to be accurate. So I always try to find loopholes, shortcuts, anything that can get me faster and easier to the place where I want to be. So I will link you to another really, really easy binding tutorial where you can use what are they called, these golden books, which come in so many fun covers and stories. So you can really pick your favorite Disney story and create a sketchbook out of that. So I'll link that video below. It's really easy and fun. You do need a little, it's a little bit more complicated, but it's still super, super, super simple. And when I say it's super simple, I do mean it's super simple. Trust me. So here you can see I'm cutting things, not doing the best job. But yeah, and again, I recommend, I went back after this and I painted the other side, and now I can relax. But painting just the one side and then you fold it and then you can see one side is just like so empty and sad, and the other side is so colorful. So you want to paint both sides. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I will see you soon in another video. Have a wonderful day. Take care. Bye bye.